Meanwhile, the presidential transition continues. President-elect Joe Biden introducing his economic team, and he's urging Congress to pass a robust coronavirus relief package so millions of American families can get the help they so desperately need. Tracy Potts has more from Washington, D.C.
Good morning, Sheba. Families and businesses and schools and hospitals have been waiting for this money for months. And while there's still gridlock here on Capitol Hill, President-elect Biden is trying to give it a push, telling Congress they need to act quickly on this. We heard it, too, from his nominee for Treasury Secretary, saying there needs to be a sense of urgency here. Biden is meeting with small businesses today to find out more about what they need. The Federal Reserve Chair says instead of just loans, they need grants to try to jumpstart the economy. Meantime, there's a little bit of movement happening here on Capitol Hill. Nancy Pelosi and the Treasury Secretary are talking again. Democrats and Republicans have introduced a new proposal, and there's a sense of urgency to try to get this done soon.
Tracy, thank you.